You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
All right, we are back for another edition of the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. As always, I'm David Madalena. I have my partners in crime here. Christian Rosales is my producer, and then Sam Mazix, who we were just joking about, is kind of weaseling his way in, and not in a bad way, as our co-host. I don't mean that in a bad way. He's easing his way in as a co-host here. And then we have a special guest tonight with us. We have Ryan Cook, General Manager of the Clinic Colorado. I would say one of the premier dispensaries in Colorado. And if you're one of the premier dispensaries in Colorado, you're one of the premier dispensaries in the world. So it's kind of cool to say. So welcome, Ryan.
Thank you very much.
So before we kind of get into talking with you, Ryan,
Sure.
there's a couple news things I want to talk about real quick. First of all, some big news on the Capitol right now. I'm sorry, I mean the capital of our country right now, not actually the capital of Denver. Hemp legislative bill is being slipped into the Farm Bill, and we're going to see if that gets passed. Really big deal. Senator Wyden from Oregon has been a big proponent of this, as well as Rand Paul from Kentucky, and weirdly, Mitch McConnell, the minority Republican leader in the Senate, has been behind this, although he's kind of quietly being behind it and kind of pushing Rand into the forefront to be the big spokesman. But one of the things I really agree with these guys on, obviously, and they are trying to get hemp separated from marijuana nationally, which is great news.
Does hemp not grow flowers?
It does, but it doesn't grow flower like cannabis flower. It doesn't have the THC. And when I say hemp, I'm saying it has to have about 0.3%. It has to have 0.3% THC maximum for it to be delineated as hemp. So this is really good news.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's kind of funny because I'm a little torn on this. I want this to happen, but part of me, as a Coloradan, doesn't actually want it to happen now because Colorado's already ahead of the game. We've already got the first hemp seeds being planted here. It just happened about 2 weeks ago by Ryan Laughlin and Mike Bowman. And
that is only one. There's one farm, correct? I mean,
two right now. Two commercial farms. Now we also do have, because of Jason Love's work with Hemp Cleans, that they passed House Bill 1099 before Amendment 64 was passed, which is called the Phytoremediation Bill. We actually have Jason writing about that in our next issue, which is being submitted to the printer tonight. And that was designed as a study of hemp and its usage. Particularly more specifically when we talk about phytoremediation, we're talking about cleaning our soil and even more specifically going into the Rocky Flats area, which has irradiated soil from nuclear dumping. Awesome. Good job, government. And the idea was taken from Chernobyl. Because when the Chernobyl disaster happened, the Russians actually looked at hemp as a possibility to soak all of that radiated soil, soak the radiation out of the soil and goes into the hemp plant. Of course, there's the issue of what to do with the hemp plant then, but at least you've gotten that out of the soil. And so that was one of the primary focuses of House Bill 1099, but they also had expanded it as basically an R&D development for hemp production in Colorado, and what kind of hemp plants are going to grow best here, what are all the usages we can do.
Did they do that?
What's that?
Did the Russians do that?
Yes, the Russians did do that. Absolutely.
That's so cool.
And it's shown to be pretty successful in Chernobyl. And in fact, my understanding is they did the same thing in Hiroshima. And because, obviously from the bomb, and trying to clean up the soil there as well. Because once you have that radiation in the soil, that soil's pretty much useless. Now, the big issue with Rocky Flats with that is they noticed a increase in the instances of different types of cancer from the wind patterns that go over Rocky Flats into the residential areas nearby. So this is actually a big issue. I mean, we're talking about people getting more cancer just because they happen to live near Rocky Flats and happen to be in that wind tunnel. So by cleaning up that soil, hopefully we'll mitigate those circumstances. That's one aspect of House Bill 1099. But, so they're looking at doing a lot of studies and growing more in laboratories on the 1099 side is my understanding. But like I said, Ryan Laughlin, Mike Bowman are the first commercial farmers in Colorado to be planting seeds. And I believe it happened just a couple weeks ago. So it's very exciting. And we're going to try to follow that story over the summer and eventually with our new endeavor with CannabisTube.net and our partnership with them, we'll be filming out there.
Oh, great.
and doing a nice little segmented series for people to kind of visit the first hemp farms in Colorado. So like I said, it's really great that we're looking to legalize this nationally and separate it from marijuana. I think that's awesome. I'm very excited. But as a Coloradan, I'm kind of being a little selfish here. I kind of want us to get a whole full couple years ahead of the game, which I think no matter what, we already are. Yeah. And I just want to see more Colorado jobs. I want to help see our economy build up. And it's going to be great for the United States in general anyway.
That's great. I didn't even think about the jobs. I just thought about a crop.
Oh, God, no, the jobs is ridiculous because you're talking about needing manufacturing facilities to refine that hemp plant because we can't take the unprocessed hemp out of the state. It has to be refined in the state before it can go anywhere else. Just like we can't take unrefined hemp from Canada and bring it into the United States. So it's a big deal. I mean, it's something that we're talking about. The marijuana industry. Everyone's saying it's $1 billion industry, and it's absolutely true. With the potential, as I'm sure you can attest to, Ryan. Knowing what kind of numbers a dispensary that's doing a really good job and operating efficiently, like the clinic does, can do, and that's a pittance compared to what hemp production can do. It really is. I mean, when you're talking about cannabis, you're talking about very specific usages that are very valuable. I mean, medical cannabis, I should say, because you're talking about, helping a myriad of, diseases and ailments. And obviously there is the recreational side as well. But when you're talking about hemp, you're talking about a minimum of 25,000 uses. That's insane. And it's amazing that we import hemp more than anybody else in the world, and we don't grow it here. So that was my little hemp bandwagon for the moment. A couple other things, like I said, our magazine's coming out in a couple of weeks. We're submitting to the printer either this evening or tomorrow, depending on a little bit of a late submission. So that's rolling nicely. And a little weirdness in this issue it's kind of a new thing for us is we're reporting on ourselves. And that's an odd thing to do when you're considered a media news source. And I actually talked about that in the letter to our readers in this issue because I was like, our goal has always been to sit on the sidelines, talk about the great things that dispensaries like the clinic is doing and talk about the movement, talk about the challenges of the movement and the challenges that, you guys deal with over at the clinic, being at the forefront of this. You guys have targets on your back. Every dispensary in Colorado does, every dispensary in the country does. And never did I think that we were going to be part of that. But we are now. We're suing the state, as I mentioned last issue. As soon as the governor signs House Bill 1317 into law, we're suing them for violating our constitutional rights because they want to treat marijuana magazines like porn. And I find that absolutely insane. Seeing that, perfect example, High Times has been around for 40 years. They've had no problem being on the front counters, and now they're telling them, no, they can't. They have to be in the back sauce as well. So it's crazy that now that it's legal, we're not allowed to share the information about cannabis to everybody. I've had some people in the dispensaries like, so what's the big deal? I don't know if you feel that way, and that's fine if you. What are your thoughts on that? I love hearing from other people in the industry, because we may be literally holding up this bill because of this injunction that we're going to be serving as soon as it's signed. And I don't want to be one of the people responsible for holding up the regulatory bill. I know there's a lot of things that people are looking at suing about this bill already, so it's not just us and this portion of the bill. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Magazines like ours not being allowed to be viewable by the general public unless it's in a private location over 21.
Yeah, it's tough. I think ultimately we've all dealt with our challenges as we've gone through this, and it's like you have to pick your battles. And I think, unfortunately for you guys right now, this is yours. And so
that's kind of how I put it.
Because in all reality, all of us at different times have had different things. we can all talk about how we're all one and the same and on one team, but we ultimately have different goals. And sometimes that creates a rift,
It does.
But I think in all reality, business is business, and you got to stand up for what you're doing. You guys have put a lot into this, and I get that.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the things I said. It's so weird to be quoted in my own magazine, because we had a.
Did you write the story yourself?
No, I did not. I did ask one of our writers to do it, and he reported. We interviewed High Times. He interviewed the Daily Doobie, Bruce over the Daily Doobie as well. He talked to the ACLU. He did a great job covering the story. But he was also like, well, you are part of this litigation. Can I talk to you about it? And I was like, well, yeah, but make sure it's not all about us, because we're reporting this.
Sure.
But one of the things that, he quoted me on, and is actually the one I wanted, I'm glad that he quoted me on it, and is that, to me, this isn't actually a cannabis issue. It's a freedom of speech issue. Now, obviously, it's related to the cannabis industry, but I do feel like it's a problem when somebody tells me that I cannot present the information about hemp and marijuana that we're trying to relay to people in a place that's going to be easy for them to pick it up. Like, and I said this again in the letter. I said, if we do what they tell us that they want us to do, which is only be in dispensaries, only be in bars that are 21 and up, and not being easily accessible to just anybody to pick us up and read us and learn about what we're writing about in the magazine, then we're basically just preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the reason why we designed the Hemp Connoisseur was not just to talk to the people who were already pro cannabis, but create a magazine that had a presentation that somebody who wasn't pro cannabis would be interested in picking up to learn more about it, and hopefully we could create some converts and go, oh wait, I didn't realize all of this, because again, we're fighting over almost 100 years of misinformation.
I learn I learn new things every day.
Right, I do too, and
I'm sure for you guys, man, with 64 coming up, obviously your magazine is incredibly tailored for these individuals coming in from out of state. So I mean, if it's more challenging for them to get access to it, it's going to be more challenging for them to find us.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
I totally understand. So.
Yeah, so we are fighting for the service we're providing for you guys that advertise with us, but we're also fighting for the service to the citizens of Colorado, especially, and as I said, next year nationally, to provide education on cannabis. And when I say cannabis, I'm always talking about hemp and the marijuana side of it. We're talking about responsibly medicating, trying to teach people, okay, if you're going to dab, maybe you don't want to take a dab hit like it's a bong. Right. I mean, things like that, because I'm sure you saw this at the High Times Cup. I know I did, where people from out of state were just like, holy crap.
Hold it in.
They thought, and you're like, no, don't stop.
I was just upset that everyone didn't follow the High Times guidelines for administering a dab.
What were they had guidelines? I didn't know they had guidelines. What were their guidelines?
They were in the rules. In fact, actually, when we filled out our vendor applications, there were check boxes for, do you need tables? Do you need chairs? Are you providing dabs? And you had to check those. And then ultimately, in theory, an individual from, we didn't check the box, so I didn't go through this experience. Right. But High Times sent someone over to talk to you and make sure that you understood what their rules were, which were ultimately you needed a table, you needed a chair, a stationary chair.
That makes sense.
You had to ultimately ask the individual, have you ever taken a dab before? If not, let me explain to you what this is going to be like.
Right.
Not allow anyone to use the torches or anything like that. You administer the dab yourself.
Right.
And then you'd have to, give them a minute to figure out what that was going to be like, and then ask them before they stood up, are you okay?
Well, so, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that they did those guidelines. I just
didn't see anyone.
But I didn't see anybody doing it. And honestly, it's a hard thing when you oversell a venue like they did. Well, I think it was like over 5,000 people oversold. So I understand. I'm not giving them an excuse, really, but I do see how those things could be overlooked when all of a sudden you have a line of people waiting to dab.
For sure. I mean, I think at a very minimum, as long as they're since the beginning of this industry, we have ultimately been policing ourselves and had to look at ourselves and say, what's the responsible way of acting? What if we're a responsible dispensary, how do we act? And I think just spitting those rules out and saying to everyone, just a reminder.
Hey, by the way,
you all know, but this is something that we need to be attentive to, because there's a lot of individuals from out of state that did come in that have never experienced that before. For anyone who has not experienced it before, can be a rough one sometimes.
I'm pretty sure most people who have dabbed in Colorado at one point or another have over-dabbed in recent months. I'm definitely guilty of that. And it's one of those things, if you do it once, you really don't want to do it again. And, you're definitely a little more gun-shy about it. Like, I know when I dab now, if I do, which you guys have seen me on a very rare occasion do it, I'm, like, taking the lightest, like...
One and done.
And it's not even one for me. It's really, like, half
and done.
And I'm good. because I'm pretty much a notorious lightweight.
Sometimes I like doing that. Take a big dab, but then I'll stop it so I get half of it, and I have to like scoop it up because it's all melty. But it's fun.
Gotcha.
I like dabs.
I know you do. I'm surprised I didn't see any dabbing going on before the show today. Actually, so.
We took some.
Yeah. I know we have to go to a break, and then when we get back, I definitely, I'll do an actual proper introduction of you, Ryan, and we'll talk a little bit more about what the clinic has going on this summer. You guys have, I think, if not the best, one of the best events of the year with the clinic golf tournament. I had more fun on that day than I think I've had in every other event that we've done. I'm hoping that we can rival you with some other parties that we're doing, but I think it's a great thing that you guys have been doing to help MS. So as soon as we come back from our break, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Thanks for listening to Hemp Connoisseur Radio. We'll be right back with Ryan Cook from the clinic.
The chocolatiers at Incredibles are dedicated to crafting the finest chocolate from high-quality ingredients to ensure the greatest possible medicated edibles in the world. Consistency and quality are top priority. Lab testing on each and every batch. Rick and Josh have been making non-medicated chocolates for years for such retail outlets as Whole Foods and Vitamin Cottage. Today, we are focused on crafting our award-winning medicated Incredible chocolate bars. We are professional bakers, and we believe food should be made from scratch. We guarantee your satisfaction. Have an incredible day.
Call Connoisseur at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Connoisseur understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Connoisseur has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Connoisseur at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at connoisseur.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
River Rock Wellness, located at 4935 York Street and on the corner of 6th and Calumet, right next to Lamar's Donuts at 990 West 6th Avenue, offers in-house, award-winning organic medical cannabis flowers, concentrates, tinctures, topicals, edibles, and raw superfoods for all patients. Prices range from $160 to $240 an ounce, with member and non-member benefits including caregiver, SSI, SSDI, vets, travelers, and sponsored programs. With brands you trust like Healthy Creations, Rare Dankness, Rock Butter, Priva, Token Daily, and more. Become a River Rock patient or renew with us today and receive a $100 ounce of choice. Offer good through April 20th, 2013.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
All right, we're back on the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. As always, I'm David, and joined with Sam Isaacs, my new partner in crime, whether he knows it or not. And we have Ryan Cook, general manager of the clinic here. You kind of have an interesting background as to how you kind of wound your way. I mean, all of us do. Yeah. We all do, is how we got into this industry.
Most of our resumes don't start at...
No, I mean, I was a professional actor, and they're like, now you're a publisher? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I act like a publisher. That's how good of an actor I am. But you started out as an architecture student.
Yeah.
And you went to Colorado, University of Colorado, Boulder.
Correct.
And you did do some work. You had a business called Bridge Street Building and Design.
Yep, out in Michigan.
And so were you designing bridges?
No.
Okay.
We just happened to be on Bridge Street.
Oh, okay. That would make sense.
It's a creative name,
there
you
you
know.
Go.
But no, doing residential, home construction, new home and remodels. So
that's interesting. See, and so you were doing that, and then that was where in Michigan, right?
Yep.
And then when did you move back to Colorado?
2007. It was, times were wonderful out in Michigan.
Right.
All the autos were closing. Everything
right.
was getting really rough, and so it was a good opportunity for me to come home.
Come back home.
And so I got to come back out here and then started with C&D Builders out here, and so we were doing a lot of light commercial, residential, a lot of multifamily structures around the Highlands neighborhood and stuff like that.
Oh, cool,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So do you still go by those buildings and I helped do that?
I love doing that.
Yeah, I bet that's pretty cool.
But it all tied into obviously what I'm doing here, and I mean I think it's helped us immensely as we've done. Now we have 6 locations. I mean we have. Even though we have 3 grow facilities, currently. Unfortunately, we've had more, but with zoning changes and things like that, those have gone away. So so we've there's been. We've been in an ever state of construction.
Sure.
I mean, it just doesn't end. And so, So it's been good for me to have that experience and be able to help us on this side.
Right, and now you use your architecture experience to help design the dispensaries itself, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a cool transition because first of all I have to commend you because the clinic is one of the most beautiful centers, and as far as the designs of all of them, I mean everyone is different because they're all different location that you have to work with, but they're always clean. They always look so professional. It always looks very inviting to come in. You guys have a great staff, first of all.
Oh, thanks,
You guys do a really good job with your staff. They're always friendly. They're always happy. I mean, I go into a lot of dispensaries, obviously, for what we do. Sure. And so there's always those that you walk into and you're like, I feel like I should be a secret shopper, for dispensaries sometimes because you go in and some people are just rude, and and it's like that everywhere. Whether you're going to a restaurant or bar, there's always going to be that person in the staff who's just not nice or friendly. Sure. But I've never had that experience at the clinic. And there's a few centers I can say that about, obviously, but you guys definitely, for such a large company, and when I say large, I know you have like over 80 employees. That's large for the marijuana industry.
For sure.
That you guys, you have a very happy staff.
Hey,
that says a lot.
We
it really does.
have a crazy notion that if we take care of our employees, that they will take good care of us.
Crazy. What the hell?
And
that?
it's important to us. I mean, we do a lot of training with our staff. I talk about it a lot, and not only do we do 2 seminars a month, training our staff on all aspects of the industry. We do a lot of in-store training and just development in general. I mean, I feel like this is not a job that people had before, and
right.
I explain it to a lot of people like, hey, last week an individual was working as a bank teller.
Right.
This week they're now your bud tender,
right.
and they now need to have the knowledge and understanding of what is taken some people 50 years to to try to learn, and so it's something that we have to give you a crash course, and help you along real quick. So
well, and one of the other things that you guys do, and we kind of talked a little bit about this on the break, that I really appreciated and hated at the same time when we had Nexus Meds,
sure,
because we were part owners of Nexus Meds, and we were out there representing all these edible companies,
sure.
And one of the dispensaries you always wanted to get into because of how many locations you could get into was the clinic, and it was always a process to get an edible we represented to be carried by you guys. But I really, like I said, as a business, it was like, God, we have to go through this whole rigorous process with the clinic for them to pick us up.
Sure.
But as a patient, I totally appreciated it because you guys do a quality control. So I remember and correct me if I'm wrong, but when we wanted to get an edible in there, we had to provide samples for like all of your managers, or at least a large amount of your staff.
Our entire retail staff. So
yeah.
Right now we ask for, I think it's 23 samples.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of our retail staff,
right.
uses edibles. So
right.
that's up to them if they choose to. But but we ask for 23 samples, and we ask individuals to all of our staff to then fill out this form, which asks questions in regards to legalities, information that's supposed to be on packaging, testing information, whether they are testing, if it's accurate, flavor, taste, all the normal kinds of things, effect, right. and how they feel it would serve a need in our stores. And so the way I look at it, and I try to be fair with with edible companies as well, is to say, hey, listen, there's a lot of companies out there. Obviously, you knew at that time, and man, they were opening every day, yep. and everyone had a different theory and a different product that a base product that they used, and which does create a different effect. And so we wanted to be able to truly say that when you came into our store as a patient, that if you asked a bud tender, hey, what do you think about this brownie versus this brownie, they're going to give you a really good understanding of what the difference is. Yeah. Not just you know what, I don't know, I haven't eaten them, but they're 100 milligrams. I'm sure they'll be fine.
Right.
That's not a real good example, and doesn't help
well,
patients.
And not every 100 milligrams is created equal. As we all know that. I learned that because obviously, anybody who's ever picked up our magazine, we do focus on the review side on the edibles and concentrates more than anything else. Because our feeling in the magazine was that, flower is going to change from harvest to harvest. So I feel like when we were doing a review of a particular strain from any particular dispensary, it would be like, oh yeah, it was really good this time. And every other magazine seems to be doing it. So we're like, let them do that. But that's such a fluctuating change. But when it came to edibles and concentrates, there seemed to be more consistency over time from a company when they do those.
Sure.
And we felt like our reviews lasted longer when we do concentrates and edibles. And so I'm one of the guys that does the edible reviews. Yep. So I know exactly exactly what you're talking about. You know, I mean, I had a couple of reviews this last issue. I mean, the one that's coming out in June, and I had one that was 100 milligrams and another one that was 100 milligrams, and there was total difference in strength on those. And they were both good, but one was definitely like felt more like 200 milligrams. And the other one felt like right on 100, you know? So, and you know, I feel like it's our job, just like it seems like for your dispensary, to make sure that people are educated, like, hey, this is a great edible, but it's way stronger than what it's like billed to be or what you're used to 100 milligrams being. Try it with half or whatever. So it's, to me, it's important, just like for you guys, that it's relayed properly, you know?
Yeah, well, and not just that. You know, I mean, I think with edibles, right, I mean, over the last 3.5 years, we've talked a lot about potency and how accurate it is, and whether it's, you know, if they've processed it correctly and how they packaged it, and, you know, all these things. But, like, you know, at the end of the day, too, we also care about the flavor,
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And I think that's really only started, I mean, like, you know, in the last couple of years, you know, we've seen companies really start making, you know, some changes to their recipes and really improving their product. And, you know, there's some stuff out there that is, we were just talking about it before, I mean, that is incredible.
Incredible.
I mean, Incredibles.
Yeah, Incredibles.
Incredibles. I mean, they're, you know, I mean, they some of those chocolate bars were amazing.
They
you know?
really
So-
were, you know, and I said this earlier. I did the peanut butter bar review for them in this next issue, and you know, can read the full review when it comes out. But I've never said this before. It was literally the best edible I've ever had, and I mean that on all accounts. First of all, consistency, because you could break it into 3 little Kit Kat bars, so to speak,
for sure.
and each one was exactly the same as the one before it. So that consistency, already you hit the level on consistency.
is that what you did?
Yeah, the flavor was awesome. Cool. And, you know, the flavor was so good that I wanted to eat the other 2 when I had it, but I was like, well, I'm not going to do that because I already know how strong this is.
I just eat the whole damn thing.
You eat the
to see what really, like I had the Mile Higher. It's 300 milligrams, and I, you know, was totally sober, and I went tunnel vision. I mean, it was the best edible ever.
But 300 milligrams?
Yeah, 300.
That's like, you're tripping, man. You're totally tripping when you take that.
Very strong. Yeah. But now I know. You know?
But now you know.
Because there's
now
other
he knows where the 300
Yeah,
is.
I know
So,
what
I mean, now
Yeah,
he's
all right, that's
gauging.
my limit. 300 is definitely a little too strong. Okay.
Yeah, so 200 was perfect, honestly.
200 was
Yeah.
perfect. Damn, I couldn't do 200, man. That's too much for me. You know,
I'm a heavy user.
I'm a 75 milligram is like right where my sweet spot
See,
is. I found.
if it's not in the triple digits, I think it's
Really?
not enough for me.
Well, for that, you're going to have to try the Standing Akimbo Rock and Rolls. Each one of those little caramels is 100 milligrams, but I swear it's like 200. It was so activated. Cool. It's super, super strong. And, you know, I had called them after I did the first time I took it, and I was like, dude, that was not just 100 milligrams. He's like, oh, you did the whole thing. Because I'm sitting there on the phone on the Bluetooth, and I'm talking to somebody. I'm like, oh, crap, what time is it? I got to take my edible for this review. And I popped it in my mouth, and then afterwards, and I'm such a jerk because I'm the one who's telling everybody, read the label, make sure you're reading it clearly so you know exactly what you're taking. And I'm trying to multitask, and I just popped it in my mouth, and it tasted delicious. And then about 45 minutes later, super fast activation time, all of a sudden I was like, oh, what did I just do? And then I went back and looked at the label, and I was like, oh, no, I'm in for a ride, and I'm not getting anything done tonight. But, you know, it's one of those ones that's definitely, you know, it's 100 milligrams, as they said. They test it every time, but it's a strong 100 milligrams, you know. So and I recommend it, but I definitely recommend
Well, and I mean, and hey, obviously they're trying to make these things consistent. I think
Exactly.
everyone's getting a lot better at it. But,
I think so.
But there's no question that there can be a little variation to
Absolutely.
it. So when you say that, I mean, a strong 100 or a light 100.
Exactly.
I mean, it's important to be able to share that with patients. And like I said, though, not just those things, but also flavor. So I mean, we talk about a lot of edible companies. I mean, I don't, it's not asking them to set up my employees with edibles
I totally
for
get
a
it.
year.
Yeah.
It's not, that's not the concept. So I mean, a lot of these companies say like Incredibles that has candy bars that are all ultimately the same size with the same dosage. Ultimately, the flavor is different. So
Yes.
We ask them to provide a bar so that our employees can at least sample the flavor.
Absolutely.
Because if who knows what I actually use their Fireberry as the example because I'm like, hey, the Fireberry bar. I mean, I think we have a general understanding of maybe what that is, but I mean, but you can buy that, and it's a little bit different than buying a 50-cent candy bar in the store and not liking it. You know,
exactly.
I mean,
it was 50 cents. Who cares?
Whatever.
Yeah, it's a little different story.
You know, these are a little bit more costly, and so you want to make sure that you're going to like it. So
I haven't had the Fireberry, by the way. It's good.
It's Fireberry.
Fireberry. I don't know what Fireberry is.
A little spicy for sure.
It's okay. I get the name. So they had a little
Incredibles bar, Fireberry. Yeah, I didn't have that one.
That's actually one of my favorite little weird combinations. Is chocolate. Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I like a little spice and chocolate. That's like a little Mexican thing where they throw a little cayenne pepper in the chocolate, and at first you're like, "What the heck is going on there?" What?
That's why I like the Buddha bar because it has pretzels in the chocolate. And that's awesome.
Yeah,
it is. It's got the pretzels and it's peanut butter. And I even said that in my review. I was like, first off, peanut butter and chocolate is like my favorite combination, so it's already unfair for this edible when I tried it.
Then they had like
But it is. And now I know we're going to have to go to another break, actually right now. Good timing today. When we get back, we have to talk about the Clinic Golf Tournament. And you guys got some really interesting things that you're going to shake things up, I think, in the industry and what you're doing at the clinic. So I definitely want to talk about that as well.
Perfect.
So we'll be right back with Ryan from the Clinic Colorado in just a moment. Thanks for listening.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On Grass. Runongrass.com.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
The National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
I'm concerned.
All right, we're back. Sorry, we're just laughing about this little story in the back. But we're back with Ryan in the clinic. And what I really want to talk about, one of the reasons why I want to invite you is because you guys have, like I said, one of the best events of the year. For a lot of reasons. First of all, the first and most important reason is you guys raise a lot of money for MS.
Absolutely.
And I know that's something that's near and dear to Max, the owner of the clinic, and that's why you guys started doing this.
To all of us. I mean, ultimately, we have one of our growers, Jay, and probably individuals have seen him on TV and that kind of stuff, has had some close personal stories. Both his father and his wife, have had MS, and it's something that because obviously as being close as friends and family that we are, it means a lot to us to be able to do something here, and the Colorado community. I mean, there's a large majority of, or a large number of individuals living with MS, partly because of some of the humidity and elevation, that we have here. It makes it a little bit more comfortable for them. So,
well, plus a lot of them are moving here because they can.
Sure,
medicine,
absolutely.
And no, but I mean, I think that is an important point. I mean, what I love about it is, first of all, you're helping a cause that cannabis is already helping.
Yep.
You have, I would say the biggest spokesperson for MS out there and the cannabis industry would be Montel Williams. That pops into my mind.
Absolutely.
he's done a great job of helping show people that, hey, this is really a medication that's helping me. And it's crazy because Montel is one of those people that you're like, he has MS, because he keeps himself in such good shape because he's weightlifting and he's taking cannabis on a regular basis. So it's obviously proving to help him.
He's anti-legalization, but he's definitely pro-medical.
He's pro-medical. And as far as I'm concerned, that's enough for me to be happy with.
Sure.
Right now,
For sure.
That's good.
That help. Honestly,
that's really smart.
Being pro-medical gets us to that point where the legalization gets easier. As you can see, Amendment 64 is a perfect example that it never would have happened if it wasn't already medical here in Colorado.
But one thing that's cool about us working with the MS Society too is that it does give you a sense of I think we can see in our lifetime them find a cure, and because of it, and because of the incredible advances that they are making, it's a really fun organization to be involved with because you physically see how you are helping on a daily basis.
Right, it is. It's much more visual.
And so and that I think that's good for a lot of people. And so it's been it's been a fun opportunity for us to do not just the Clinic Charity Classic, but we also do the MS Walk with them. We did holidays. We did a party at Cervantes for them. We've done a lot of in-store promotions and raise some money, and it's been awesome. I mean, up to this point, we've raised close to $50,000 in the time that the company's been open, and we're excited to say that in 2013 on top of that we've already raised about another $20,000.
Wow.
And so we believe that at the golf tournament we could probably raise somewhere around $20,000 to $25,000. And so I hope this year for us to be able to double what we've done in the last the previous 3 years of fundraising. So,
well, and I think that's awesome. I think that's one of the things about the clinic that I love is that you guys, while you're a successful business model for dispensaries out there to kind of say, okay, this is a great way to operate my business. You guys have been one of the centers out there, and we've had other centers on here that I think are that I can say the same thing about.
Sure.
But you have helped set that standard of what the marijuana industry should look like, and the fact that you're giving back by helping the MS Society. And also, by the way, awesome that the MS Society is accepting your donations. Because there are other nonprofits that wouldn't want to touch the cannabis money, which drives me crazy because, isn't your job to raise money?
Yep.
And then they're like, no, we don't want it, like it's dirty money or something.
Right.
But I think it's amazing that you guys are doing the work you're doing. You're really helping the image of the industry and show people, look, man, we're not just about giving people some medicine so they can go home and get high. It is about a medical side of it, and it is about giving back to the community.
I mean, it's extremely important, I think, for the whole community to look at who we are as a whole and how everyone accepts us. And so, to be able to do these kinds of events, not only, yes, of course, raising the money for the MS Society is an awesome thing that we do. And there are some other benefits that roll off the end of it, which I think, like you commented, it's a really, really fun event. I think, for all of us who have been in the industry now for, say, almost 4 years here or longer for other individuals, we've done a lot of events. There's countless conventions and this event and that event, and at the end of the day, this is one that I think all of us get to kick back a little bit, really enjoy ourselves. Golf, the whole idea of it is that it's supposed to be relaxing, and that's how we try to create the event so that people are enjoying themselves, having a good time, but celebrating cannabis at the same time.
Well, and in last year we kind of the Hemp Connoisseur, we kind of covered the event by driving around on a golf cart and going from hole to hole. By the way, that was an absolute blast. But we would see all the different dispensaries that maybe in another day considered competitors of yours, but on this day everybody just let loose. Like you said, they had a good time. Everybody was having fun. I mean, how often can you say, hey, the cannabis industry just owns an entire golf course for the day or for half a day?
For sure.
And we kind of had a run of the place, and everybody was respectful of the golf course, but we had a great time, and it was all about having fun, because you know what, the money was already raised.
Yep.
That was the thing. It's like, okay, you guys have already done all the hard work about raising the money. Now we get to have fun about this and enjoy and celebrate this, and it really was one of the best times. And I've been out there talking it up like crazy. I plan on golfing this time around because obviously I'm not a good golfer.
You don't need to be,
but
don't worry.
But it was serious. After watching the tournament, I was like, okay, dude, I'm fine. I'm just as good as any of these people, and I hadn't golfed in 10 years. So it was like, okay, I'm going to do it this time around. And, we really are excited about covering the event. This time we're going to kind of cover it from a different angle because I'll be playing, and we're going to have CannabisTube.net filming us and kind of showing like, hey, this is a day in the life of somebody in the cannabis industry, and one of the most fun events of the time. So I think what's going to happen is, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to check this out and be like, oh crap, I really want to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. It is really not just about a bunch of people in the industry just sitting around getting high. Everybody's having a good time, and it builds community.
Absolutely, and it's really fun. I mean, we allow all of the different sponsorship levels, of course, allow different things, but for the most part, we make it so that there are these companies that are out on the holes, and you get to spend time with all the golfers and hang out and show them something fun or do something cool. This year we're excited to have Cloud pens. So Cloud's going to be out there and showing everybody how to use the devices. In fact, actually, just as a little side note, every participant's actually going to receive a free Cloud pen as well.
Oh, awesome! So, well, that's even more incentive to go ahead and get signed up on that.
Right. I mean, so I mean, let me kind of start at the beginning. I'll tell you a little bit about the event. So, I mean, August 2nd, which is a Friday, we're going to be having a silent auction pre-party at NORAD. So it's going to start at 8 o'clock. There's actually going to be, there's some pretty incredible prizes already where full grow room setups for your house. So 2 lamps, your tray, your tables, all your newts, all your soil, everything that you're going to need to be able to put in one round, And so I think there's 2 or 3 of those rooms.
Wow.
Some weekend getaways, some, different packages, but some things, real fun opportunities. I think even there might be a glass blowing class in there. So,
cool.
So you get to, bid on some of these things. All the money's going to go to the MS Society. And then around 10 o'clock, we're going to go upstairs. We haven't announced the talent just yet, but we're going to have a fun show that we'll be doing that till close.
Cool.
So to allow everyone to go home and kind of sleep it off.
Right.
Saturday will be the day off, and then we'll come back on August 4th, Sunday morning. It's an early morning, but it's a fun one. So out at City Park. So tea time is about 7:30 in the morning.
Oh, I know.
So it's a bright one, but I think everybody's probably got 3 beers in them by the time they tee off.
Pretty much they did. I remember that.
But I want to mention, because it's important, with this year being the 4th year that we've done this, we are really trying to get the sponsorship dollars, because as I say to a lot of people, awareness comes in dollars, and I think this year we need to to really raise some money. So
absolutely.
Weed Maps came in. I think everybody knows and loves Weed Maps.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's the premier way to find dispensaries and find your meds. So Weed Maps is going to be out there. They're going to be doing a ton, as they always do, and they're a big sponsor. Like I said, Cloud's going to be out there. Dixie will be out there. Hemp Connoisseur will be out there as one of our media sponsors.
Yep.
So that'll be awesome. Nugget Tree will also be one of the media sponsors. So
awesome.
He'll be out there. So that'd be pretty cool. Heady Glass will be out there. If everyone doesn't know Heady, you should get in there and check it out. And TI Power. So all the titanium stuff that you absolutely need. So Team Iron Stitch, one of the attorney groups here in town, is going to be joining us, and MMC Depot, Pure Intentions down in Colorado Springs. So as you mentioned, other dispensaries like
his name's Justin, the owner over there.
Jared.
Yeah, it was close. It's a J name. I was close.
But it's fun for us to have some of these guys involved too, because you're right. It's about community, and it's about us saying, hey, we're all doing this. This isn't just a clinic thing. This is a community thing.
Well, I think it's great that you're getting a Colorado Springs dispensary up there. I think because one of the things I noticed, because I'm always back and forth between Colorado Springs and here, because that's the second largest market, obviously, is there sometimes is a disconnect between Denver and Colorado Springs.
Absolutely.
And they're kind of in their world, we're kind of in our world up here, and it's great that you guys are helping bridge that gap and showing, hey, man, we're all in this together, and bringing those guys into these kind of events is awesome.
Introduces. I mean, of course, we as patients, you're an active person here in Colorado.
Yeah.
You're all over the state.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
You need to know where to go when you're down in Colorado Springs or in Boulder or up in the mountains. So it's nice to have those connections.
No, I think that's great. I know it's going to be a fun event. You guys you've always done a great job. It's gotten bigger and better every single year. So I'm definitely excited to be a part of this.
For sure,
again.
but hopefully everyone gets in there and gets signed up pretty quick, because honestly, golfer spots are going pretty quickly. We only have 144 spots, and registration opened about a month ago.
Oh.
So to tell you that, it's dwindling, and just so you know, if we still have spots by June 15th, the price does actually go up to $115.
Gotcha.
So it's you're encouraged to get in there,
early.
buy the tickets now, get them
Sure.
for $105. So it is $420 a
$420
team.
for a foursome, easy to remember.
But then it's all the beer you can drink throughout the whole day. All of your food's included. We do a barbecue at the end. Everyone's gonna end up with a gift bag. Like I said, I know Cloud's gonna give something, but the gift bags will be worth way more than what you pay for it. So it's good.
Well, and there's a couple other things, to respect City Park Golf Course. You guys are not supposed to bring paraphernalia.
Absolutely. City Park and the city of Denver in general has obviously been very cool to allow us to do this tournament. So, we ask everybody to be respectful of them. They don't want glass out on the course. So, please respect their wishes. Don't do those things. Don't bring coolers out there. You don't need to.
You don't need to.
For the 8 people that got their coolers confiscated last year, we are providing them.
Right. You're helping. You're taking care of it. And it's like, look, if you're going to be medicated, which I'm sure most people are going to be, just do it without the paraphernalia that we just said. No glass or anything. Take an edible beforehand.
Sure.
Whatever you need to do.
Roll some pre-rolls.
Roll some pre-rolls.
And make sure you have a responsible ride home.
And make sure that's important. That is
important.
important. Make sure you have somebody who is not medicating, your designated driver, to take you back home. So,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, I didn't realize you guys were doing something on the 2nd. That's a crazy weekend for me because we're going to Bongathon.
Okay. Yep.
So we'll be leaving for Bongathon on the 2nd and the 3rd, driving back that night on the 3rd. After the festivities of Bongathon, and then right back in the morning. So it's going to be one of those weekends where it's going to be exhausting, but it's going to be so worth it. And it's just going to be a blast.
No, it's going to be really cool, and we're trying to make it really fun and give a lot of different things for everybody. I know Indie Inc. is actually going to be coming out and doing screen printing out on the golf course and at NORAD to make you a shirt of the event. So
oh wow, that's cool.
So they've got kind of 3 different designs that they're going to do and make something pretty cool. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we're going to be doing our own little event at the end of this year that we haven't officially announced yet. So we're probably going to be talking about some of the things you guys have put together to see what we can steal from you. But we do have to go for another break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about something else you guys you're working on at the clinic that I think is really unique for Colorado, at least I would say. I think it could be kind of revolutionary for how people move.
We hope so.
Yeah, so we'll see. So we'll be right back with Ryan from the Clinic Colorado.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for listening.
River Rock Wellness, located at 4935 York Street and on the corner of 6th and Calumet, right next to Lamar's Donuts at 990 West 6th Avenue, offers in-house, award-winning organic medical cannabis flowers, concentrates, tinctures, topicals, edibles, and raw superfoods for all patients. Prices range from $160 to $240 an ounce, with member and non-member benefits including caregiver, SSI, SSDI, vets, travelers, and sponsored programs. With brands you trust like Healthy Creations, Rare Dankness, Rock Butter, Priva, Token Daily, and more. Become a River Rock patient or renew with us today and receive a $100 ounce of choice. Offer good through April 20th, 2013.
iVita Wellness is committed to compassionate patient care while providing the highest quality medicine at an affordable price. At iVita Wellness, patients can get top shelf ounces for $150 every day. iVita Wellness also carries pharmaceutical-grade pure CO2 oil. iVita Wellness is located in Uptown Denver on 1616 Pearl Street, open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can reach us at 303-952-9150 or our website at www.ivitawellness.com. iVita Wellness is Denver's Compassionate Care Center.
Whether you are a commercial grower or cultivate as a hobby, No Dough Urban Garden Supply is Denver's first stop for your hydroponic grow needs. With a wide range of products including House and Garden, Botanicare, and Fox Farm, their knowledgeable staff can get you started on your first garden or help you with your well-established business. No Dough Urban Garden Supply is located in downtown Denver at 1330 27th Street, 4 blocks north of Coors Field near MMD of Colorado. They are open 6 days a week from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 303-296-3424 or visit them on the web at www.nodoughurbangardensupply.com.
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
Hey, we're back. God, I'm doing terrible at just talking through the break. But we're back with Ryan from the Clinic Colorado. And so one of the things that we talked about on the phone, I think was it last night or the day before? God, they just blend in, man. Is you guys are kind of taking a shift at the way that you're selling your medicine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not changing what you're doing in the grow. You're not changing the quality or anything like that. But you're going to pre-sealed packaging on your meds.
Correct.
So can you explain a little bit? Because I know there's going to be some listeners out there who are like, dude, I don't like the idea of this. I'm really scared.
Sure. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I think I've heard different dispensaries doing this, especially out in California for a long time, and there were a lot of them that were unsuccessful. To be honest with you, I mean, there are some that are very successful. I mean, and some of the most successful dispensaries out in California can only operate that way because of the sheer number of patients that they have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Harborside
does it. I mean, all the big ones definitely. There's too many people going through out there. Their market is too large, so that's why they choose to do that. But we've chosen to do it for some other reasons, and I think I hope our patients grow to love it. We've been doing it for I'd say probably now close to 3 months. But there's a lot of product that's in our stores that you could choose whether you wanted them to weigh it out in front of you or whether you wanted them to provide you a pre-pack. So I mean, my concern, and I think a lot of patients' concern is probably the bait and switch idea, is that someone shows you a product and then reaches under the counter and God knows what you're about to get, And to be honest with you, I experienced it here in Colorado. I've talked about it before we ever opened our dispensary, and I love the dispensary that this happened at. But ultimately they did pre-packaging. They gave me that. I didn't check it until I went home, and there was a stem in there and some shake, and I was like, that's rough, and went back in, did it again. It was pretty popcorny, and thought, God, that's crap. Obviously, no one wants to get that. I mean, I think we've all come to know that it's not. I mean, there's a retail component to this. We want our product to look good. We want when a patient goes home, they want to be able to open up that jar and take a look at it and say, dang. That is why I went to that store, and so I want to make sure that we're providing that experience, and so it's extremely important to us that we make sure that we we do that through our packaging process. But this allows us a lot of things. One, to the patient, speed. Obviously, when you come into our stores, if I've got, we have 3 or 4 registers running at any given time, but you could still be waiting a little bit, and so for us to weigh that out in front of each individual person, and when you come in as a patient, hey, if you want 2 ounces and you want to buy, you want in 8 quarters, we're going to weigh it out for you. It's going to take some time, and then someone decides, well, I also want to choose a couple of those waxes, so let me take a few minutes to do that. And I think all of us know as patients what that's like, to wait behind the other person and say, I just want to get out of here, So now all of those packages, when they come, they're barcode scans. So barcode scanning, and we're out the door, And so now our bud tenders, not that we're rushing you through like cattle, we're spending more time with you. I mean,
I think that was an important point, because I asked you about that when we talked about this the other day, because obviously a few alarms came off in my head when you said, we're going to start doing pre-packaging, and you actually answered every single one of my questions that I was concerned about, and that was one of them. It was just like, well, it's actually really about servicing our patients better, and not about turn and burn necessarily.
No, not at all. I mean, I love that about our patients and in our dispensaries, and I'm sure you probably experienced this at your own dispensary. You love that relationship that you have with these individuals, and you see them on a pretty regular basis, and so you do know a lot about their lives and talk about things, and I want to make sure that we continue that, and so a good way for us to continue that is to be able to, instead of being down on the register and weighing things out and not looking at you, now we can spend time. We can talk about what's going on in your life and how that's how you like those meds or what I mean. It offers us a something back to what we were experiencing 3 years ago when wait times were much lower.
They
and,
were
and,
right.
And we could spend that time. So but in the same sense too, if you've been into one of the clinic locations, you'll see that we have jars that we have all the product in. As that product is handled throughout the day, every day, and we're weighing out, it gets to the end of the jar, and we do what we shake the jars. cultivars,
Right.
which we take all that product out, which is a process of handling the bud, and you're breaking trichromes as you're doing that.
Right.
You know?
Everybody knows the more you handle it,
and
the
then
less
you
it, the more it
take all
degrades.
that out. Now that's the product that we were ultimately, say, rolling joints with, or,
Right.
or things along those lines, right? Now what we're doing is in the actual warehouse, when that product comes off, anything that's a popcorn bud or anything that's of not where you wouldn't say, dang, that immediately is ground up right there and turned into joints. So we don't have that product being handled anymore, throughout the process. It also, when it's packaged right there in the warehouse, it's packaged in a really sanitary environment. Everyone's in gloves and masks. That product has only been, actually in front of our trimmers, which they're also all in gloves and masks. So everything's been very sanitary throughout that entire process. The bags, are smell-proof bags. So we're putting the product in there, and then we're filling it with nitrogen. So that nitrogen actually locks the product in the exact state it was right when it comes out of the warehouse. So you're getting as fresh a product as we can possibly deliver when you open that package. On top of the fact that we heat seal it, so it is a tamper-proof package. When you open it up that it was your package, and nothing's been inside of it or anything along those lines. So all along, I think we've created better flavorful joints. We've created fresher quality product for the patients. We've helped our internal process. There's a lot of really, the bags are all recyclable. These are good things that we've been able to establish here.
Well, and one of my questions that I had the other night, which is one of the important things for me, is when I go in to purchase, I want to smell it first. I want that check. I want to be able to see outside the bag. And I was glad that you said this. You said what you had said was, well, every time we bring it in, we do open up one bag right away when the new shipment comes in. It's opened up so that people are able to experience that before they select the medicine.
And I'll be sure to clarify what I'm saying that too. We open up a quarter first so that you get a good example of what that product's going to look like and what it's going to smell like when you're at least getting the sample jar. But in the same sense, we're looking at being able to sell that really quickly the next day. So we sell it at 15% off the next day. A patient walks out the door, they're quite happy that they got a better product, and we're doing that in every batch. So I'm making that distinction because every batch for us is every time we've harvested a certain number of plants. If we harvest 5 sour diesel plants today, that's one batch. So when we open up that bag and we dump it in there, that's of that batch.
Right.
When we sell through that batch, we open up another bag. So you're getting an example. There can obviously be variation between batch to batch and day to day. Not a ton, but that is in an effort for us to ensure that this is not a bait and switch type switch.
Well, and I like that. It's kind of like when you go to King Soopers and you buy, okay, these were yesterday's rolls, and they're reduced. And it's funny because they're like, well, they're just as good.
Yeah,
it's just they were yesterday's, and I like that you're doing that quality control. You're showing that you're maintaining freshness. So I actually like the idea. I was sold on it when I talked to you about this a couple days ago.
For sure.
And at first, when you said that, I was kind of like, oh Jesus, what the hell are they getting into?
To be honest with you, obviously we were nervous about it too. But when we started doing it over the last 3 months, we've actually had patients coming in and asking, what do you have in pre-pack?
Right.
As opposed to wanting to wait, they would prefer it that way. And I think the key factor is that when you get home and you open that bag, that it is the exact same way as if we would have waited out in front of you.
Well, and
that's really important.
That's the problem.
That's
the problem I see.
Right.
Because they'll show me the jar and I'll smell it, and then the prepackaged stuff, which has been packaged somewhere else, is like totally different.
Right.
For sure.
I'm like, oh, this is.
But the way the way he's explaining is like, no, it's not. You're getting what you're asking for.
And you can see, the bags are also, the bags are, translucent on one side, so you are able to actually see.
You can see that you're getting.
If you wanted to look at it and say, hey, you know what, I'm not really into that nugget.
Right.
Can I see another one? Absolutely.
Right.
We'll be more than happy
do that
to take
all
care
the
of
time.
it.
Yeah,
sure.
no, and I think that's important. I like the idea of this definitely now after we've talked about it. I think it's a great step forward, I think, for Colorado, for people to see what you guys are doing and say, oh, wow, this really working. Now, there is the other thing about this, though. You guys go through a lot of medicine on a daily basis.
Sure.
You know, you have 6 centers right now?
6 centers.
So you are in a position where you can do this. I think some of the smaller mom and pop shops out there are not at that level yet where they're moving medicine at such a fast rate that they always can maintain that freshness the way you guys are able to do it. So it's definitely something that may be more difficult for the smaller shops out there, but you guys are at that level now where you can really do it. And I think it's awesome to see that step forward. I mean, and it, to me, obviously doing it the way you guys are doing it, you're showing a much more professional nature on the retail side that everybody else can start going, okay, well, that's where I want to be. I like it as a patient because, again, like you said, you know, it's not smelling, you're doing that. I mean, you guys are taking some care and time into the way you're sealing it. I love that, you know, carrying it around and it's not going to smell is good, especially with this possibility of this new DUID law.
Absolutely.
Where I'm very concerned about, hey, I'm driving with cannabis now, even though it's legal to have an ounce or 2 ounces if you're a patient. Well, if a cop here smells it now, are they going to pull me over and start doing a DUID on me? You know, so
well, and also, you know, all of our concentrates, which is a cool thing too, because I think if you've seen in some dispensaries or whatever, I mean, if someone has wax on the shelf for a long time, that can oxidize.
Yes.
And so, you know, we're now pre-packaging all of our waxes into 0.5 gram and 1 gram packages as well that are in our plastic containers that are slid into a bag that's nitrogen sealed and heat sealed as well.
Perfect.
So, you know, I mean, if you pick up a few grams, then don't open one yet.
Right.
You know, and when you open it in 3 or 4 days, it's going to be just as fresh as it was. You know, and I think that's what's really important for everybody to you know, to be able to understand.
No, I absolutely think it is.
I mean, there's a lot of patients, obviously, that come in, you know, and purchase their meds, you know, will grab their 2 ounces and not come back in for another month. And I'm sure that, you know, in previous time, if you have it in a bag, that air is your enemy.
It's your enemy.
You know, ultimately, by the time you get to that last eighth, it's not
gonna
real
degrade.
good, you know. So
I used to spray some stuff into my jars, and it had nitrogen and stuff that's in the air, and it's used in the culinary industry, and they just bottled it, and you'd spray it, and you close it at night, and then it would replace all the air, take away all the air, and then it would form a layer above your flour, just of like a protective layer, and it prevents oxidation, and you can tell.
Interesting.
I mean, the morning you wake up and you smoke it, you're just like, it's
Just
almost
as good.
better.
Wow.
It's almost better. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it just doesn't go anywhere. It just stays the same.
nitrogen's heavier than oxygen,
than
so,
oxygen, so that's why.
it'll push it out of the air and keep it preserved. So
hey man, I think it's really cool. We actually are just about done, so I gotta to close this out. So the one thing I would say is, look, man, thanks first of all for coming on, Ryan. What information can people find out about first of all, the golf tournament?
Sure. I mean, I encourage everybody, go to thecliniccolorado.com. There's information on there about the tournament, so you can jump right on there. It's an easy online sign up. And like I said, I suggest everybody get on there and get it done before you lose the opportunity to get those tickets.
Yeah,
so,
he's looking at me because he's like, dude, I know you said you want to do this. You better get on there.
It's 105 now, and again, it goes up to 115 in June. So
Gotcha. All right. So so get on it. I mean, we have information on the Clinic Golf Tournament in the June issue coming out as well.
Awesome.
We have it on Facebook because we want to promote this event as much as possible because it's just a great event. You know,
sure.
I mean, and I believe in it because first of all, it's a good cause, but man, it is really one of the best times of the year. It's fun.
If you get a chance, go to YouTube and check out some of the past year's videos because the videos will make you sign up right away.
Yeah, exactly. You can also go to thecliniccolorado.com to find out about all your locations. You have 6 locations right
Absolutely.
now. And is that including the Jewel location that's reopening?
Yes. Wow. So, that's out in Lakewood. So July 1st, Jewel will be.
Because I've been going to the Jewel location every issue that we do distribution. I'm like, it's going to be open again soon, right? And it keeps like, nope, next month. So now it is open.
Yep, for sure.
Obviously, you can find out more about the Clinic Colorado in the Hemp Connoisseur magazine coming out in the next couple of weeks, or in our last issue from the 420 issue, if you can still find it, which is kind of rare to find now because they've all been picked up.
And make sure you stop into the clinic and check out some of the cup winners. You know, we took first with Tangy this year, and our Tangy shatter is just hitting the shelves today.
Is it?
So
nice.
all of our shatters are just coming out. Nelson's been working, and now we got some really incredible shatter coming out on the shelf. So I'm excited about it.
You guys have always done a great job on your flower and your extracts. You've won awards from our last Hemp Connoisseur Championship. Obviously, ours is coming up again this fall. We're making that announcement in the June issue as well for early registration for that one too.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys are always rocking it out. You're always at the highest level of quality and service. And I just want to commend you, Max, and the entire team at the clinic for what you guys do, because you guys really are setting yourselves up as one of the gold standards in the industry.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming on, Ryan.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for everything you guys are doing, and
Cheers.
really appreciate it. So I don't know who our guest is next week, guys, but whoever he's going to be or she's going to be, they're going to be interesting. I promise you that. And I'll be working on that pretty much tonight. Also, keep an eye out. The Hemp Connoisseur will be out in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be doing updates on the Hemp Connoisseur Championship, of course, the golf tournament, the 710 Cup, all the great events that are coming up all this summer, because this is like the summer of fun. It really is. And, of course, Bongathon. I can't not mention Bongathon and our friends over there. That was a fun-ass show when those guys were on, and we'll definitely have them back on before Bongathon happens. We're probably going to have you back on again, Ryan, if you want, in July, just to kind of promote again the golf tournament for anybody who, of course, is probably going to be filled up by then.
Sure.
So then we can just make everybody feel jealous that they didn't
we
get
can
in
just
on
talk
it.
about all the amazing things that are going to happen.
Exactly. So thanks again for coming on. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Christian, for being my partners in crime tonight. And thank you guys for listening to us. Until next time, peace, love, and hempiness.